Welcome back for our seventh episode. In our previous episode, we talked about the Stanley Cup playoffs, so make sure to go check that out. The link to this video is on screen and in the description. Also, we are expanding our podcast to Spotify, so this will be the third episode on Spotify and the seventh on YouTube. Thank you to our new listeners on Spotify. If you would like us to expand to other platforms, let us know in the comments. Now, Austin and I will be talking about the NBA playoffs, as last night the Lakers took a 2-0 lead against the Heat. Yeah, Austin, I guess, well, both my picks were wrong. But I guess you got one of your picks right, correct?
Yeah, I had the Lakers, and I believe I had the Raptors. Uh, the Heat have played very well. It's been a very valiant effort from this team that I did not expect to go this far. I thought they would lose to the Bucks in seven. I didn't. I thought they would do well this playoffs, but I definitely didn't expect this. Um, they just looked outmatched last night against the Lakers. They lost by 10, but they were down by as much as 18. During one of the timeout breaks in the third period, Udonis Haslam, who's been there for all their finals runs and all their rings, uh, was trying to get his team to realize that you don't know when you're going to make it back, and the Heat need to realize that and use all the effort they have to try to get it done now because they're already down 2-0. They put themselves in a hole. They cannot lose Game 3. They can't go down 3-0 against LeBron. And moving on to the Lakers, this is the first time that LeBron has been up 2-0 in a final series. Uh, he's in his best position. This could be his fourth ring. Anthony Davis has consistently been one of the best players in the world and proven that time and time again in this series. Right now, I think he leads Finals MVP over LeBron, but LeBron, I think, will probably get it back by the time that the series is over. Their veteran presence is insane. Everyone knows their job and sticks to their role. Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, all players who have at least been to the finals, and Rajon Rondo and JaVale McGee have both won. Uh, I mean, what do you think so far of this series?
Yeah, I was expecting a very tight series, but I think the injuries to Bam Adebayo and Gordon Dragic are like that's very detrimental to the Heat because I think Bam Adebayo, my bad, would help with Anthony Davis and guarding in the paint in game two. We saw the Lakers get 16 offensive rebounds. So I think that helps getting offensive rebounds to get second chance points. And I think Bam would help with the rebounding. And then we saw Gordon Dragic do exceptionally well. I think especially in the Celtics series about helping drive his team forward, and he offers that veteran presence as you're talking about for the Lakers. And in the Heat, it's just a very young team. And I think on my side, I saw the Heat as kind of like they'll be good in a few years, as I believe this is the first year with Jimmy Butler, and you just have a bunch of these rookies. But they did make that trade for Andre Iguodala, and I think he needs to step it up when guarding LeBron. And then talking about the Lakers, I think if Lakers go 3-0, it's over. Because as we saw, LeBron James has his pedal on the gas. And we saw this in the Nuggets series where it was 3-1 and you thought the Nuggets were going to make a comeback, but LeBron shut it down with his triple double, I believe. Right,
Yeah,
Austin?
yeah. The Heat need to stop forcing it with Tyler Hero. He's obviously not the player that he was last series. He's still a very young and has the potential for the rest of his career to be an amazing star in this league. But right now in this series, he's shooting 36, 27, and 85. Those are shooting splits, and he's playing 36.6 minutes and only averaging 15 and a half points. He's just not performing to the best of his ability. He's not all that great of a defender. He has a 130 defensive rating and an 88 offensive rating. I don't know if he's really bringing it all to the table right now. Uh, I think they need to go more in a direction where the bench players play. I think they need to play more players like Kelly Olynyk, who scored 24 points last night. They need to go through Myers Leonard, who played well in the few minutes that he played last night. Kendrick Nunn, all these players that they went through in the regular season to help them get to this point. They need to play more of a team game, especially with their injuries. I feel like that's why Bam and Goran got injured, is because they've been playing so many minutes, averaging so many minutes per game this series, that it's really hurt their team. So it's important that they realize that, hey, this is a team game. We don't need to only play 7 or 8 guys. We need to play 10 to 12. And I feel like that'll help them in the series as it goes along, especially if they can make sure to get back Bam and Goran. But as you said, and as I said previously, they have to win game 3, whatever that means. Uh, if that means that Jimmy takes more of an offensive role, then I think he's taken. Then I think he's taken the past couple games, and that means he has to go off. I don't know if they. I don't think they can win this series now that they're down by this much. They could potentially win 2 games. I could see them, if they make a valiant effort back, they could lose it in 6. And I feel like that's still a great success for a team that is was never expected to be in this position. But you're never going for second place. You're always going for the ring. And I think the Lakers have it secured right now. But I know LeBron doesn't think that. He has a mentality to prove that he needs to be the one to end the series, and it's only over when it is over, and I think they will. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and to mention about Game 3 is a pivotal game, and we mentioned how important or how bad the injuries to Bam and Gordon are, or Gordon Dragic, as they are both doubtful for Game 3. So, like you mentioned, Jimmy Butler's probably going to have to step up, or Tyler Herro is going to have to go off. And I think they're just going to need to make a lot of their threes, because that's what we've seen, a Heat team that makes threes. You have great shooters in Tyler Herro, Crowder, Kelly Olynyk, and then you have Jimmy
Obviously,
Butler to
Duncan.
make some clutch. Wait,
Yeah, you got
what did
Duncan Robinson too.
you? Oh
He's
yeah,
a great shooter.
yeah. They need those players to make shots, especially against the Lakers, who, as their bench is just outplaying the Heat bench, and the defense from the Lakers has just been phenomenal. And I think that's due to Anthony Davis guarding the rim, and with LeBron James also on defense. And you mentioned how you think Anthony Davis is probably the front runner for the Finals MVP right now. I would agree with that, and I think he's going to win it. Even though I think if it was just LeBron, this other Lakers team, it would be very competitive. But I think Anthony Davis is the key factor in helping the Lakers win this series. Do you disagree or?
I don't know if he's the key. LeBron is LeBron, and while he's definitely a major player on the team, and Anthony Davis is a large reason why they're here, the main reason is LeBron. Anthony Davis has had no playoff success before this season. He obviously swept the Portland Trailblazers uh, a couple years back with Drew Holiday and company with the Pelicans. But I mean, he didn't show up all that great against a Warriors team that I didn't believe had players to guard him because of his height. And he never stepped up in the series, and they got beaten, I think, 5. But I mean, it's LeBron. It's their veteran players, like obviously Danny Green, who I didn't mention before, Quinn Cook, who's won a championship. He didn't play all that much, but he still has played in this series. J.R. Smith, who again he's played both games but hasn't played all that much. Again, just veteran presence. They're the players who need to be there for the team, and that's why I don't think the Heat have right now. I think they need to play Udonis Haslem. While he is 40, he plays tough. That's all he does. It's a grit and grind player. He plays just like the Grizzlies did in 2013. That's how they won the championship in 2006. Is just grit and grind. That's what Dwayne Wade was like with those mid-range shots, those driving to the basket. Udonis Haslem is the Heat GOAT, in my opinion, because he's always been there. He never left the team. He never even had thoughts of leaving the team. And he plays as a Miami Heat should, with all the heart and passion that these players right now for the Heat aren't showing. That's why I like Jimmy Butler for the Heat, because I feel like he's one player who is like, I mean, he's just like Udonis Haslem. While Haslem wasn't much of a scorer, he always tried 100% on defense and getting the boards. And they need players to step up, like Andre Iguodala, like Jimmy Butler, players who've played in this league for a while. And I think they need to play Udonis Haslam at least some minutes just to show the guys, hey, I'm not just talking out here because I can't play, but I can do something. And I believe that he'll help on the defensive end. And while he may not get that many points, he'll at least set hard screens and make good plays, or intelligent plays that won't be a detriment of his team. Right now, they're turning over the ball way too much, uh, comparatively to the Lakers. While the Lakers have more turnovers, it feels like they don't get anything off of them. Their defense, they allow points off of turnovers way too often. If they get a turnover, it's a dunk by LeBron. It's just what it is. And the Heat aren't playing a defensive game like they have before. Their zone defense isn't working out too well, and I believe that they need someone to rev up their game, whether that be Eric Spoelstra making a great talk to the team or Jimmy Butler or another player stepping up. They need it by next game, or the series is just over.
Yeah, and to go back about, I think Udonis Haslam and Andre Iguodala are the only players on the Heat, and I think are the only players that have been to a finals. Like we talk about Jimmy Butler being a good veteran presence, he still hasn't made a finals yet, correct?
Yes.
So I think
The only other
it's
player to make a conference finals is Andre Iguodala, Udonis Haslam, and Myers Leonard made one last year with the Portland Trailblazers, where he was a pretty big part of why they got there. But again, those are, and Kelly Olynyk made it with Boston in 2017. But those are the players that we need to show. Hey, we've been here before. We've done it, and they need to show that and come and play like they did in those runs. If they're not out of this series. A 2-0 lead is not something that no one can come back from. LeBron proved it in 2016. There's been many teams to come back from 2-0, including that 2006 Heat team, who was down 2-0 against obviously the Mavs, and then they won 4 straight and won the series. But the Heat have to take Game 3. I don't believe anyone is ever going to come back against LeBron when they're down 3-0. And it would be so detrimental to his legacy that I don't know if he could ever come back from that. But I obviously don't expect that to happen, and it's not looking good for the Heat team that I thought would put up more of a fight after they pretty handily beat the Celtics in 6.
Yeah, I was expecting at least a 6 game series, maybe a 7, and every game was going to be a close one. But like you said, LeBron, I don't think LeBron's going to let the Heat come back. I think it's going to, at the best, the Heat get it to Game 6, but I think LeBron wins that game. I just don't think he's going to let a team come back when he's up. And I think we both agree on that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, I believe that concludes our episode for today. Thank you for listening to our 7th episode. If you enjoyed it, give us a like. Please be on the lookout for our next episode where we recap the first few weeks of the NFL season. Stay tuned if you would like to hear more of Outsiders' opinions. Thank you for listening.